YouTube, what is going on, man? It's your boy Manuel Keenan. You see it in the title. Today we're going to be talking about if third-party plugins are necessary. This isn't going to be a super duper long video, but I feel like it's a topic that we all need to discuss, especially for you beginning engineers out there that think you need to buy universal audio plugins, you need to buy Slave Digital, you got to buy... Oh, I can't even think of all the, because there's so many. There's so many plugins out there that beginning engineers think they need to buy because they sound better. They'll do something to their vocals to where they don't necessarily have, the stock plugins doesn't perform as better as like third-party plugins, this, that, and the third. And I'm not gonna lie, there is some truth to that. I can't even cap and act like there isn't, because there is. There is a reason why you gotta spend certain amounts of money for digital plugins, because they work and they work well. If there's engineers out there that tell you you don't need them, okay, so this is what I'll say, all right? Before I get into that, what I'll say is that you do need to improve your sound. You do need to fiddle with third-party plugins, because otherwise, if you didn't necessarily need those third-party plugins, when you see other engineers and when they're giving their tutorials and doing the stuff that they do you see them just have a straight audio chain of just stock plugins and nothing else? No. Why? Because when you pay for other third-party plugins, is the reason they sound better. Okay, now this is what I'll say: you really do not need. You don't need it, especially for the beginning engineers, because when you start off, you want to make sure that you understand the functionalities of your stock plugins. You want to make sure you understand the functionality of your DAW, your box that you're working in. You want to make sure you know how to find a tempo. You want to make sure you know how to bounce correctly. You want to make sure you know how to conduct studio sessions. There is just so many things that you have to figure out first before dabbling into other things. Okay, it's literally, being an audio engineer is a journey. You start from one spot and you get to wherever you get to, determine it, when you determine how long you want your audio engineering career to be. Okay, so that's something that's very, very important. It's something that I think you guys should definitely know. When you first start off, you want to make sure you understand the ins and outs of a regular stock compressor, of an EQ, of your multiband compression, of de-essing, hell, even auto-tune. They have pitch correction. I don't think it's called auto-tune for stock plugins, but I think it's called pitch correction, right? You want to make sure you understand the functionalities of all of that before you dabble in other third-party plugins, because that way, when you get into outsourcing and buying other plugins, you already know exactly how to work them and what to do with them, because you've already figured out what to do specifically with your stock plugins and your DAW and everything basic first. You crawl before you walk. You don't start one place. You don't start at the end and work your way to the beginning, okay? You start at the beginning and work your way to the end. I know that's like clear and obvious, but some people want to jump, man. Some people want to skip steps. Some people want to, automatically acquire something that they hear. Like, for instance, if you hear an engineer or you hear a song and you're like, yo, I don't know how they're getting that, or how they're getting that sound, how they're getting those vocals to sit perfectly in the beat, how they're getting that bright, that airiness, that whatever it is, and for it to sound controlled. How are they doing that? Part of it, now I'm not gonna lie, I gotta keep it 100,000 with you. Part of it is because of the material that they're recording with. Part of it is because of, what they're doing in the box or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, they know what they're doing before all of that occurs, okay? There's a reason why the engineer is in the spot that they're at now when recording with multi-million-dollar equipment and using multi-million-dollar setups with a variety, endless use of plugins, because they know what to do from a basic standpoint. That is very, very important. They already know what to do from a basic standpoint. Then you graduate to intermediate and you graduate to advanced. It's all a process. It's all a journey, right? And you don't, like I said, you don't want to skip steps. You start off at one spot and you get to another spot, man. So now, I will say this. I believe once you've mastered the beginning of functionalities, and once you mastered everything that you need to do as far as starting off as an engineer, I think then it's a priority. I really do believe then it's a priority for you to start outsourcing and start to experiment with other third-party plugins and really understanding how plugins work and what they do to signal processing once you apply them. Because once you get used to that, I'm gonna keep it 100,000. Your sound has to elevate. You always have to be trying to get better as an engineer. I guarantee you, a stock audio chain is not going to sound, in most cases, now don't get it twisted, in most cases, a stock audio chain is going to sound better than a third-party audio chain where an engineer has purchased, maybe $200, $300 plugins. There is a reason why those plugins are $200 and $300, okay? And there is a reason why plugins that you have already in your DAW are free. Don't get it twisted. I use stock plugins all the time. You see me releasing stock plugin videos on my channel. Okay, I use stock plugins all the time. I literally, actually, if I'm not mistaken, let me go down here and see. My stock plugins is actually one of my highest viewed videos because I was working with them G-Thing. I was working with them bad boys, you feel me? Like, I was working with stock plugins, fam. So that's why I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this because I know how to do it. And that's actually one of my highest viewed videos because when people hear it, they're like, yo, this actually sounds really good. And it will sound really good once you know what you're doing, all right? The stock plugin audio chain that you have, if you know what you're doing, it'll sound good. But if you have someone that knows exactly what they're doing and use universal audio plugins for an audio chain, I guarantee you put those two together, the universal audio plugin is going to sound better. The reason why is because they have a variety of things they're able to control. They have a variety of things, as far as how dynamic the vocal is. They can pick up on transients better. There's just so many variables that come with third-party plugins that it's able to handle more so than a stock plugin. Why do you think you have tiers in analog gear? You have your $200 analog gear, you have your $300 analog gear, your $400, $500, $600, and it goes up because there are certain components that the analog gear makes up for them to be able to handle a wide range amount of things more so than something before. Now, don't get it twisted. You can make a multi-million-dollar record off of regular analog sounding gear. You can make a multi-million-dollar record off of anything, essentially, just as long as it sounds good. Don't get that twisted, okay? But ultimately, you want to make sure that you better your sound. Ultimately, you want to make sure that you grow. Ultimately, you want to make sure that everything sounds professional. And the way that you do that is by handling what you handle firstly, and then graduating and getting better, investing in yourself, finding things out, and expanding your knowledge as an audio engineer, man. So that is pretty much what I wanted to say about that topic. I know it's probably not going to be highly viewed or anything like that, but if you're one of those people where you're just really thinking about, man, I'm not sure if I want do I want this? Do I need this? I really want to, outsource it. I really want to have all these plugins. I watch my tutorials and excuse me, my phone. But I have all these tutorials. I'm watching, I'm watching Alex Toomey, and I'm watching Mixed by Ali, and I'm watching Leslie Braithwaite, and I'm watching just all these engineers, right? You're watching all these engineers and all the plugins that they're using and things of that nature, and you just really wondering like, dang, bro, I need all those plugins. Yes, but no, okay? And the reason why I say no is because you want to make sure you understand your box and everything else before you get into the big rigs. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it, man. If you guys found this video helpful, please make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, fam. Gang.